All right, everyone, I have the wonderful and amazing Courtney Guest with me, and I am just so excited. We had a little bit of a pet emergency last week, I see his
I
ears.
did. Did.
So we couldn't make it happen. So I really wanted to reschedule and chat with Courtney. So I'm so excited you're here. You are like by far my top choice and favorite person ever to have brought into my business. So just thank you so much for who you are. And I'd love for you to start with, a little bit about yourself, personal life, and your business.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And I definitely appreciate you and your trust in my business and what we do. So you're wonderful to work with. And I say that to everybody. So appreciate
That's
that. So a little bit
okay.
about
That's
myself.
okay.
So I have two children, three dogs now. I did have two dogs, but then 2 weeks ago we rescued one, and two cats. So definitely love spending time with my family and being home and just kind of enjoying some downtime out of our busy schedule. Um, Kind of my professional background, received my real estate license in 2018, was in active sales for a little bit. And then kind of when COVID hit, I transitioned to transaction coordinating. It was something that I knew I really excelled in, but didn't realize it until one of my best friends had went out of town and I handled her transaction for her. And I realized, hey, like this is really, really where I could be of value to agents, more so than me being a real estate agent and selling homes. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is recognize your strengths and realize that this is the avenue that you need to go. And it's far more rewarding for me to be able to give my skills and my expertise to agents and help them succeed and grow. Um, so before I got into real estate, though, I had a paralegal background. So that kind of made myself really, really good with paperwork and organization. And now I say all the time, paperwork's my jam. So that helped me as well. But so that's kind of how I came to really go from paralegal to real estate sales to transaction coordinating. Um, I'm so glad and so thankful. I started with just myself in 2020, opened up Closing Simplified, and then it really kind of grew. And so now here we're January of 2024. I have myself and I have two others on my team, Josie Waters and Melissa Brown. Both are also North Carolina licensed. And really just they're a great team to have, and we're really able to step above and beyond for all of our agents when we need to, and really give a great service.
That's so great. And I think one of the really important things to mention too is like your attention to detail. Like you
Yes.
have that. And I feel like as realtors, oftentimes we're going so fast and, trying to negotiate and trying to get deals done. And your attention to detail is always amazing. I'm like, I love that she did that. I'm going to start adding that to my offers, like just,
Yes.
it's really great. Um, so let's go into some of the different services that you provide, like packages or what you really do in your day to day.
So our main service is contract to close. So that would be transaction coordinating. We do that for buyer files or seller files. Um, that cost is $339. It's just a flat fee, and it's due or billed rather once it closes. If for any reason the file terminates, we don't charge a fee, which is something that I think sets ourselves up, apart from others. Some may create, accept a deposit just to hold. But contract to close is our biggest. So that's managing your contract from as soon as you get it under contract and both parties have signed that offer to purchase all the way to the closing table. And so for buyers, there's more active steps. So some of that would be scheduling inspections, putting all your dates on your calendar, monitoring and doing communication with lenders, buyers, other agents, attorneys, really anything administrative that could happen within a contract to close process. Sellers, it's more monitoring, making sure that the buyers are staying on the path and that the buyer's agent is, making sure that appraisal is getting ordered and sending any kind of documents for signature, drafting any amendments. Firm compliance is a big piece. I think a lot of agents, the feedback that we get is they're really great with the communication and the building of relationships and the sales piece and finding the homes and CMAs, but they really struggle on the back end of organization, doing their firm compliance on time, making sure their documents are right. Because hand in hand, ultimately, if you're not good at those things, you're not getting paid on time either. So, because sometimes the firms, they're not going to release your payment unless everything is, T's crossed and I's dotted. So that's a big thing for us to help with. The other services are like a la carte services is what we offer. So putting your listings into MLS, drafting your contracts, whether that be offer to purchases, listing agreements, buyer agency agreements. We also do email blasts. So if you have a new listing or if you want to advertise anything, we will do an email blast. And we have contacts from various board of realtors. So it goes out to almost about 3,800 to 4,000 agents, which is a really big resource to tap into. But those are our main services that people use. We do have some packages, and I'm definitely happy to share those more in detail with anyone that would like to know that information. But I think biggest to really hit on is that contract to close, the contract drafting, the MLS input, and that marketing piece of the email blasts. So
that's awesome. I think I've heard you say this before, but I didn't realize you do the email blast to everything.
yeah.
That's so awesome. So I
Yeah,
use every part of Courtney's business except that, but I will start doing that.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, before jumping on this call, I was thinking about several things that have happened in my business where you've helped me. And I just really want to share a testimony to Courtney and her team. And, I went through a couple deaths in my family, and Courtney was right there by my side to help support me, like write up an offer and help me with listing paperwork and all of that. And it's just so nice. I like you said it before, Courtney, like you're like my work bestie, where I'm able to really lean into the resource and get set up. And I just think that, like, during that really hard time, it was just such a peace of mind to be able to have Courtney at my side to help me. Another thing that happened just this morning was, hey, Corey, did you see your email? There's, the realtors asking if your clients are under contract because they're my buyers or our buyers. And I was like, no, I didn't, but I really appreciate you bringing that up because I am buried in emails right now. So super, super helpful just to have that and like add the things on your calendar. I think all of that is just incredibly useful. And it is a cost, but if you think about replacing that cost with you're negotiating, like getting in a class where you can learn how to list a house better or do an open house better and get leads, like it is worth its money times 10. Like it really is useful because you're freeing up your time to do things that are more lead generating items or serving your clients better, honestly.
Yeah, and building those relationships. And I think, fun fact, utilizing a transaction coordinator, they say that administrative wise, from the moment you get a file under contract to closing, it can be about 16 to 20 hours of admin work that it takes you from start to finish. And so that is 16 to 20 hours out of that you can save and do those things that Corey just said. And I think the biggest thing for us and the biggest reward for us is being able to help provide the service at the level that we're able to, and see our agents grow, and not only personally but business by growth of volume of sales, and not even sometimes just growth of volume of sales, just being able to really focus on whatever they need to do. And sometimes it is business and sometimes it is just personal, but seeing that growth in all areas is really our goal, and we love to see that happen.
That's such a good reminder. And that's awesome to have that in a vendor partner. I feel like most of my vendor partners know me personally as well and know my personal life, which is just, it's so helpful because it's important to want to see each other and uplift each other, right? In this business. So we're talking to only women mostly. I'm sure this will be on YouTube at some point, but it's for She Sparks Society. And we have about, gosh, I don't remember how many people we have in our group now. We have 1,200 members. It's so awesome. I didn't know we hit 1,000.
That's awesome.
We're all across the nation right now. We're trying to go global, which is really cool, but we just want to uplift each other and help each other in our businesses. And I think a TC is one of the most wonderful things. But something I know about you, Courtney, is that you're not a 9 to 5. A lot of TCs are. And I used to have a TC that was that. And it was difficult. It was hard because that's not how I run my business. And it's really helpful. But with you, what I know about your business is that you are very good about your boundaries. At least it looks that way. You're really good at like, okay, I'm at a football game with my kids. I can't help you.
Yes.
Or, hey, so kind of, can you go through, and sorry, a little off topic, but go through like how you've gotten to that point, or have you always been that way? And maybe some like tricks to your trade.
Yeah. No, I think when I first opened my business, it was just myself, right? So I really had no boundaries, and I didn't want to set boundaries at first because I wanted myself to be available to any agent that needed me at any time. So I really tried to take any business that I could in the beginning. Now that we've gotten a lot busier and my kids get older and they get more involved in things, I do set those boundaries, but really it's never a hard no too much. We work evenings, we can work weekends. We don't ever set times. Like we don't say, hey, we will be available on Monday through Thursday. It's, after hours. Basically what we tell our agents is, hey, if anything pops up, you go to an evening showing, you have an offer that you need to write. Instead of trying it yourself or trying to do it, go ahead and reach out to us and say, hey, I need this offer. It does or it does not have a deadline, or what is your expectation for that task? And then basically there's 3 of us now. So between the 3 of us, someone should always be able to draft that offer for you. But if we can't draft it, we'll let you know, like, hey, I definitely can't get to it tonight. Or I can, but it'll be within the hour versus, within 30 minutes or right that moment. Same with weekends. It's the same principle. We try to get everybody handled whenever they need something done. But we will definitely let you know what we can do, what your expectation is with time frame, and we'll let you know if we can meet it. But I think that is a big thing. It's how we say is we work realtor hours. It's just real estate doesn't happen 9 to 5. And sometimes your busiest time is your evenings and your weekends. So that is just something that we all do here, and we don't mind it. I've drafted an offer at 9 o'clock at night, which is probably a big boundary, but you just never know. You never know what comes up, and we're happy to do that. I drafted an offer for Corey on the boat on the lake. So it was one of those things. I was on vacation and I was still working. And so if that shows you how above and beyond we go, I can even help you while in the middle of the lake. So,
so awesome. Stop the boat.
Yeah, I did. I told my husband, I said, stop the boat. I was like, I got to do this real fast. So, yeah.
That's awesome. How with your kids, like, I mean, it's so cool. Let me back up. I think it's kind of neat to be working with your kids around. Like, I think it's kind of cool for them to see the work ethic, because oftentimes people go to a job and they never get to see, like their kids never get to see them work. And I've taken it as such a positive thing. Now, obviously I find moments in my day to like not my day, but evenings to put away my phone and like truly put my kids to bed and read them a book or whatever that looks like. And of course, like really cherish those special moments, because those children get big fast, as we know. But I think it's so cool to think about it in that aspect as a bunch of realtors, and how we can work really hard in our business. It's kind of cool to watch your kids and get them involved. I went to a mastermind with one of our top producers at EXP, Elizabeth Riley, spoke, and it was just so cool. She's like, I call them the Lux, because she's got Lux Property group, but she was like, I call them the Lux Squad. And she like, put t-shirts on them and they go deliver Girl Scout cookies, or she
Yep.
like has them put postage stamps and like kind of gets them involved. So,
Yeah.
as much as we work evenings and days or whatever, have to pull over the boat, it's kind of nice to give them that work ethic, but
Well,
there's a
yeah, I
balance
think work
there.
ethic, and I think they learn communication in a professional way, how to, with professional aspect is very different than speaking to friends or so I think they hear that too, and that helps. And my daughter's 17. There's been times where I've been driving and something's come up, and she's actually helped me put initial fields on documents before. And I've helped walk her through that. So it's fun to kind of incorporate them into the mix. And I think it's great. It's all about balance, and it's hard to find that balance, but and if you're finding difficulty with that balance, it's still okay. Like, you're still doing good.
So true. Your tiny humans are alive.
Yes, that is what matters. Like, that is what matters. Yeah.
That's so true. Is there anything, and this is a little personal, but is there anything in your daily life that you delegate? Like, do you use Instacart, or do you hire a cleaner, or do you like, is there any, because you run an amazing business, like what do you do to delegate some of those things so that you can add family time or add business time into your life?
Yeah, I think really starting to delegate more so to others on my team, of instead of trying to do everything that's giving to me after hours or on weekends, to try to give the opportunity for others to take that. And then we do pickup sometimes for groceries, not all the time, but we do groceries once a week. So it's really not that big of a time difference. But so far, like, no big delegation that I found that I needed yet. I think the biggest thing is just creating that time of really just saying, hey, I'll be gone these few hours, or just really being open and honest more so to clients, than giving an expectation and not being able to either meet that, or putting aside my family to meet that, rather. So I think more it's just personal boundaries, like you said, of just really being clear of what expectations I can or cannot meet. And just being honest with the agents and saying, hey, we would love to do this for you, but I just can't get to it right this moment. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you're really good about that. Like, I hear that a lot from you. Like, not a lot. Most of the time you can handle whatever I throw at you, which is so wonderful. But I do really, as another entrepreneur, like, I do really appreciate hearing, like, I'm at a football game, I can't get to it, or if you need it right now, I'm not your gal, or
Yes.
and that's of course
Yeah.
turning away business, but it's nice to hear, because I'm like, okay, great. I gotta do this myself, or whatever this looks like. So,
Yeah.
do you see people use on their listing agreements and buyer agency agreements? Do you see people charge an admin fee to kind of cover your cost? Have you seen that very often?
Yeah, so I've seen it more with a lot of our EXP agents. I've seen it maybe a few times with other firms, but it is getting a lot popular. It's getting more popular. I think that is a good way, if you're hesitant, to try to recoup that cost. And that's an option. People do that all the time, and whether it be the full fee, whether it be a little bit higher, whether it be lower, that is an option that you can do, and it just covers any kind of administrative fee that you may have. So that is an option, and I have seen it. I don't think it's widespread yet over every single agent that we assist, but it is popular. So that is an option, if you're scared of the cost. But I will say, like, just try it one time, like, just, it really takes the one time to see what others can do for you and help you, for you really to see the benefit. Because we can draft an offer for you, but you really don't get your time back unless you try that contract to close piece. But that's the biggest, I think, is just to try it. And again, you have that option. If it is a cost factor, do what Corey just said, and do the piece where you're reimbursed for whether it be the full cost of the 339 or whether it be 350 to cover, a portion of your photography or something. Just anything administrative wise.
Yeah, most of the time I get so nervous when I talk to people, and often I'm new in my business, but now I've like written it down so I see it. But a lot of times nobody says anything. Like nobody says anything. And one
No.
of my words of advice to everyone is, if you do choose to do that, we in North Carolina, you can put in the additional provisions addendum just at due at closing. And one of the things that if they do push back, you just say, okay, great. If you're not, how about this? You're not okay with the service you get provided, I will refund that to you at closing. Like I will give that back to you. And 99.9% of the time, no one's ever going to say anything. Maybe even almost 100%, like really
Yeah,
close
no,
to
I
100.
think that's a good script to do. And I think also just letting people know that, you have and will provide this team that's behind you to give them, excellent service throughout to make sure that it's going to be seamless from beginning to end. And just sometimes providing that value and providing that extra point of contact throughout the transaction is enough for them not to question that administrative fee. So I think as long as you can really put forth educating them on how your business works, who's on your team, and what we do for you during this time, because sometimes they go out of contract, sometimes they go back under contract, and so you could have 5 different contracts for one buyer and you're well above that fee that you're trying to recoup. So I think just educating them on the value of your team and what you have behind you.
Yeah, and I think that is what you just said is so important for us as real estate agents in 2024. Like the interest rates are going to go do crazy things, like we're going into an election year. We have no idea what's
going to happen.
At least in the US. I don't know if we have anybody global, but anyways, it's going to be a little weird. And I think it's really important to sit down and spend some time to like write down what your value adds are. And I know I did that at the beginning of the year. And one of my things was like, Courtney, like everywhere. It's a great value add. And people, I'll say a couple of things. Like one is, whenever I do hire Courtney, I make sure that I'm using my time more wisely. Like it motivates me to, if I'm spending this money to do this, I then need to flip that over and like educate myself or spend time prospecting more or whatever, like using that time. And then, which is part of like the whole delegation thing. And the other thing is, I truly feel like I have won some offers because I have included Courtney in my offer to purchase conversation. Like, hey, I'm so excited to present this offer to you. And I just want you to know, like, this is Courtney. She's ready to go. She's amazing. And this is her value that she'll add. And I really think I've won offers because I've had Courtney as a sidekick. So, yeah, I just think that that's really helpful.
Yeah, and delegation, I mean, that's a big piece. I think some of our agents don't get the full service of what we can offer because they try to hold on to those pieces. And I understand that. I'm that type of personality too. So I understand and I respect that. But delegating is a big thing, is learning and to be comfortable to delegate tasks. So if there's something that you're not sure if we do, delegate it anyways, and we'll let you know. I think it's a big thing of learning to delegate and being confident to delegate to someone. And I know with that comes trust. You have to trust that person and that'll be built. But really to truly get the most out of the service, to gain back your 16 to 20 hours, delegation is the key.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you seen anybody else like in that kind of sense? Is there any other story that you have where a realtor has used you to serve them in a bigger capacity?
Yeah, so I mean, we really help anywhere from individual agents to big teams. We've been able to help big teams, meet their goals, their big goals for the year. We've been able to help. I have some agents that have been with me since my start in 2020. Those agents know who they are, and they are just awesome. And I really, really appreciate them because they were with me from the moment that I made the company to now. And so some of those agents, in the beginning in 2020, maybe they were selling anywhere from 3 to 6 million in volume. And now today, like this past year, one of them sold almost 13 million. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing to see and to be a part of that too. Even though I may not be seen on the front end, it's just a good feeling to know that I was helpful for that. I had a piece in that. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think really there's been so many examples. I think individual to teams to an agent who has a new development and is getting developments put up. And, we have done that twice now with putting lots up, doing, changes for all of that. And that's a big project. A development is big. And I think to have that support for that agent was great. And it really helped out. So we kind of are really good about any kind of different scenario. We're willing to jump in, even if it's one that we haven't been in before, and really to dive in and give our expertise where it's needed, no matter what the scenario is.
That is so wonderful. I love it. Um, there was something I thought about. Oh yeah, what you only work in states that you're also licensed, right? So currently you're in North Carolina, and then what else? And
So we're
then
starting to get into South Carolina as well. One of our agents had her license, is looking to get it back to get it back active in South Carolina. Obviously, you don't have to be licensed to be a transaction coordinator. So we have done a few South Carolina deals already, and we continue to do so. But yes, it is one of really my main thing is that every one of our agents or whoever is going to be handling that state needs to be licensed in that state. But we do already do some South Carolina deals. So right now it's just North Carolina and South Carolina that we're assisting.
oh, that's great. Awesome. Are there, before we close out, this is the last question I'll ask you. If folks are from another state, like what kind of interview questions? I mean, I hope first of all this would spark some ideas, but what kind of interview questions would you make sure that they ask to their transaction coordinator?
Yeah, and I'd love to kind of mentor anyone who is looking for an admin in a different state. I think definitely um, as being one, I can kind of tell you what they would be looking for and what to look for and how to really find that right fit. But biggest thing, especially for realtors, is going to be what are your hours? What are your hours? How much volume do you do per year? Like how many agents are you helping at one time? How many is on your team? One question that I get, asked a lot is, will I be assigned to just you or will I alternate between transaction coordinators? That's a big one, especially if they're a team of more than one. So that is a big question. And then not only cost, but then strengths, and it's going to be a different question, I think, for each agent because each agent is going to have a different business need. One might be paperwork and organization, and one might be totally different. And so I think you have to really pinpoint what are your weaknesses and what are you hoping to leverage out? And those are the questions that you need to ask of their skill set. But I think honing in on your personal weakness when it comes to real estate and in your business and what you really need help in to be able to grow to the next level, I think that's where your questions are going to lie. But I think those few questions that I mentioned are really the top.
Yes. Oh, so good. All right. Is there anything you would like to say in closing?
No, I think just thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would love to chat with anybody again, like on a Zoom meeting, a Google Meet, or in person or over the phone, just about us, how we can help you learn about your business, kind of what your needs are. And if you know of anybody that's looking to hire a TC or that needs help or needs guidance on a certain level, we'd be happy to help and happy to answer questions and really just say, try us the first time. Just try us, whether it's a contract drafting, whether it's contract to close. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that's great. And something that I know about Courtney is her mission and her goal this year is definitely to serve and help. So I truly, 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 truly take her up on her offer because you might be surprised. Maybe you guys don't work together, but she'll be like, here's this plan that you just take or use this, and she just has you have such a servant heart, which I really appreciate because I know a lot of us do. We're helping people with like the biggest transaction of their life. So anyways, Courtney, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and if you don't
Thank
mind,
you.
stay on one more minute before I when I
Okay.
end this.
Perfect. So thank you.
Bye. Don't know how to stop recording. Stop. Haha.
Did you find it?
I think so. And then stop this recording.